This episode is brought to you by FX's feud, Capote versus the Swans. Inspired by actual events, the series tells the story of Truman Capote and the women he betrayed. The original housewives. They were society's most elite women. Rich, glamorous socialites who defined a bygone era of high society New York. From creator Ryan Murphy, this drama series features an all-star cast, including Naomi Watts, Demi Moore, and Diane Lane. FX's feud premieres January 31st on FX Stream on Hulu.
We're here to tell you it's a lot more than pretty stuff. Hey everybody, I'm Kelly Wilkness here with Anita Joyce, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. And today we're going to talk all about the steps to a well-designed room. And as I said in the intro, it isn't just about all the pretty stuff. There are crucial steps that you need to take, no matter what your style is, in order to create a well-designed room.
And I think a lot of these things that we're going to be talking about today really don't depend on which room you're decorating. These are tips that you can use for just about any room. And that's what I like about it, really, no matter what your style is, no matter what room you're working on. I think these are excellent things to keep in mind.
These are actually the steps to doing it. Like, here, do this in order. No matter what your look is, right? No matter what furniture you have, whatever look you're aspiring to. If you do these things, you will end up with a well-designed room. It's as simple as that. So, you want to get started?
I sure do.
Okay, you kick us off, Anita.
Okay, well, I think you start with who's using the room and how is the room being used? Are they casual? Are they formal? Do they entertain a lot? Are you going to read there, watch TV? And I'm going to give a little example, and that is Evie, when she moved out, her bedroom became my new little sitting room. So I had some extra furniture, and it was kind of formal French furniture that I put in there, an antique settee and two Louis XVI chairs. So it worked very nicely because it's just kind of a sitting room for me to go have tea, read a magazine, and that's fine. But if it were a flop around teenager watch TV room, what I've done would just not work at all. So it really is critical to kind of think about how is this room going to be used before you even get started.
Absolutely. I really like to start my own designs or those of my clients with how is this room going to function? So I think that is key to whatever choices you're going to make. And especially if you're in the market for a well-designed room, start with the function and start with who's going to live in there. And those two things are going to sort of play off each other. Obviously, the room will function differently, just like Anita said, if there's a pack of teenagers that's going to hang out in it or whether it's Anita. All right, so there'll be some different things going on. So the room will function differently for the different people. Who lives in the house? That will include not only people, maybe some pets. And as far as pets, you want to consider fabric choices, certainly rugs and things like that. So function and the people who are going to live in the room, you can sort of combine those as maybe step one.
Yeah, I think this is step one. And like you said, some things can be overcome too. Like you said, you have to be thinking about pets, but that doesn't mean that you can't have something pretty in there that maybe is white. Then if you have something in there, like I have white furniture in there, I mean, it's white fabric. And if we had a dog that was in there on the furniture, then I would just put a throw over it. So, I mean, you have to keep it in mind, but there's a lot of times there's a workaround.
Oh, yeah, agreed. I mean, I have 3 little dogs and I have lots and lots of pretty things in my house and I have lots and lots of pretty rugs, but they don't cost me lots and lots of money. So, those are choices too, as far as you can still get something really beautiful, but maybe if it's in that situation, either it's going to get a lot of foot traffic or you're going to have pets on it. Maybe you don't want to invest that much money in the rug. Maybe you invest in something else. Step 1 is figure out what the purpose of the room is, how it's going to function, and who is going to be enjoying that space.
Yes. What's the next thing to do?
To measure. Measure once, measure twice, maybe even measure 3 times. Because not only for scale, so not only for visually making the room well designed and pleasing to look at, but also, just practically, the furniture has to fit in there. And especially since so many of us are buying online now, whether it's for convenience or otherwise, you need to know what can fit, whether it's through a doorway or if you want, say, a sofa near or in front of a window. You don't want it coming up too high over the window. You want to choose pieces that are going to work in your room. You can't just choose furniture in a vacuum. Think also about not only the width and the length, but also the size of the arms, whether it be a sofa or a chair, and the height of tables. All these things are really going to be important.
That's so true. And with Evie's new apartment, there is a little nook for the sofa, and we had to buy a sofa. It's 6 feet, 7 inches. That's it.
Wow. Right. Wow. Yes.
So we had to be very careful, and I already had a measurement, but I said, go measure it again before we order this online, because it's not going to be a happy experience if we have to return it. Really what we're saying is just kind of taking all the data and just really think through what your space is like.
Right.
The next step, I would say, is to create a Pinterest board of ideas for the room. I think you and I and so many people that love decor, we love so many different styles. We love so many different things. But guess what? You can't put all of that in your house. You're going to have to settle down on a few styles that will play well together. So it's kind of nice to get started with the Pinterest board and start creating this board with all these fun, beautiful photos that you love. Usually when people do this, it kind of starts going in a particular theme, and you can see the direction that you can just look at your photos and say, oh, well, this is the direction that this client is going, or this is the direction that I'm going. Even if you didn't really know beforehand, once you start seeing your photos, you can kind of see the direction it's going. If you feel like you're all over the map, I would kind of sort those photos out into different boards. Maybe this is more English country, maybe this is more contemporary, and kind of divide them up by style, and then kind of just pick a few that really work well together. You may have to edit yourself but that's the place to do it, is in the Pinterest board stage rather than further on down the road.
I also love to tear sheets out. Get yourself a pretty folder. And if you like doing that as well, dog-ear your magazines, pull them out, stick them in there. You could also collect all sorts of swatches. Most swatches are free, and companies, brands, people are happy to give them to you because you may end up coming back to them and actually purchasing something. So order some swatches. And, even ones you're not sure whether or not you might like the color or whatnot, sometimes online it's really hard to tell. I just got a bunch of swatches from a company, and really I don't think any of the 10 that I picked up that I had chose online were really anything like they looked on the website. Some of them some of them I liked even more than I thought I would. And a couple of them I was like, I had to check the name. I was like, is this really the same one? So, some things just don't render themselves well on the web. So definitely get swatches. You can start putting together palettes for yourself. And that is so much fun to play with all that stuff. I'm like a little kid when I get with my swatches and I'm making different palettes, and you might surprise yourself. You might come up with a palette that, wasn't something you would initially have picked out for yourself.
Well, I think that's so true. If you can get a sample of whatever it is in your hot little hand, I think that's absolutely the best way to go, because they don't always render the same in person that they do on the computer. But sometimes when you're ordering things, you cannot get a swatch. Yeah. And in those cases, I try to find that particular item and see if it's sold somewhere else. And it's interesting because I've looked
you have that trick for doing that, don't you?
Well, you can do the image search.
Tell everybody that again. That's worth repeating.
Well, if there's an image that you're looking for on the internet, you can right click and you can copy. It'll say copy image link, and you'll select that. And then when you're in Google, on the upper right, I think there's a picture of a camera. I think you click on that and you can search for the image. And then one of the options is to put in the image URL, and it'll find similar images. So even like if it's a fabric and I know the name of it, I sometimes just search for that fabric to see if that fabric is showing up somewhere else, if it looks slightly different. So I try to find the same object on different photos of it is what I'm trying to say, especially customer images of the item look on the website to see if customers have uploaded images, because then you can kind of get a better feel for, is this a warm red? Is this a cool red? Is this going to go with what I have? And those customer images are very helpful. And also, a lot of times customers write in with reviews and say, this ended up really being more cherry than oxblood, red. So it's very helpful to get that customer feedback on those.
Oh, I so agree. And if you're shopping in a place like, I don't know, Wayfair, Overstock, eSale Rugs, they're not going to send you swatches of their rugs. Ballard will. I just got a bunch of swatches for Ballard. I think they will send you maybe up to 5 at no cost and no shipping, even if you're interested in rugs from there. But of course, you're going to pay more for the rug. So it's worth it to them to send you some swatches. But if you're purchasing a rug, that's a 5x7, that's under $200, they're probably not going to send you a swatch. So great tip to read all those reviews, because oftentimes that's where the truth is, right? No matter, the picture is not telling you the real story. They might have different kind of lighting. And when it really got into an actual person's house, you can find out what it really looks like. So what's the next one?
Keep the scale in mind. And this is interesting because I don't know if you remember in our interview with Marion Parsons, Miss Mustard Seed, she said that her furniture that she had in this small Pennsylvania house, that the furniture looked too small and it wasn't to scale for the house. Do you remember her saying that?
I do. And you said, oh, that's so interesting. And I thought that was interesting too. I would have thought her stuff would have worked anywhere.
Right. I was surprised by that. So she said she ended up having to go with European antiques to get the scale right. But I'm going to go back to that room, Evie's bedroom. I put very delicate antique small furniture in there because now it's a little sitting room. But were I to put that in a large room with high ceilings, maybe 10-foot, 12-foot ceilings, the furniture would have looked so awkward and small. But again, on the flip side, were I to put a big overstuffed leather chair in there, it would have not looked right for that room. So it really is important to kind of keep your scale in mind, make sure that it's sized for the room that you have. And this might come more with experience, but just kind of think about, does this room feel right for this piece of furniture? Because like you've said, a lot of times the Pottery Barn pieces are really clunky. They're really kind of chunky, not clunky, but chunky pieces, and they need a big room.
I just had this experience with a client yesterday. It's for an outdoor patio. We've extended to one of those little patios, like, the little cement pad out the back with a little overhang. But she had this giant yard. And so all the living was going on this little pad. So we ended up extending the cement area and made it curvy and so much bigger. And she can have furniture and she can have a table and all that. And then, of course, we're doing this beautiful garden design. But still, it wasn't a giant space. It was bigger and better than what she had, but still not huge. And she kept coming up with those, everyone's seen them, those very squared off outdoor furniture sets, it's just like, boom, so clunky, kind of like we say Pottery Barn, love Pottery Barn, but a lot of their stuff is kind of clunky in that way. Well, these are those ones you see on Wayfair everywhere, very linear, the outdoor rattan and the dark brown, like everybody's seen these sets, and then like the big coffee table that goes with it. And the price was just so appealing to her. But I said, let's get out our measuring tapes, because there is no way you're going to get out the door and around the chair. Then you'll have to do a cartwheel over the love seat to even enjoy the space. So even outdoor, you really have to be aware of the space and the lines and the scale as far as it is going to work with the area that you're going to fill and how you're going to get in and out of the room and all of that. So I think that's an excellent point. Another thing that we talk about in connection with lots of times color palette, or design elements that you may want to repeat, but it's flow and continuity is what you want to have. So that's one of the steps. What are we up to now, Anita? 4? I think step 4.
Oh, I'm not keeping track.
I'm not. I hope someone's keeping track. If someone's keeping track, let us know. So it's either 4 or 5. We'll figure it out. But flow and continuity. So you're going to want that throughout not only the one room. Today we're talking about a well-designed room, but this could be a well-designed home as well. You're going to want to have the colors or the design elements appear throughout the room, not all on one side or not all just on the mantle. And you're going to want to repeat a few elements here or there, or at least the vibe of the element.
You know, I think there's so many reasons for doing this. One is, like you said, for continuity, for flow. Secondly, I love moving furniture from one room to another. And if you have a consistent look, it's very easy to switch furniture around. It keeps you from getting bored. And then as you maybe buy a new piece, then things are very flexible. You can move things about. But the other thing I was thinking about is how we talk about sometimes if there's something that your eye expects, it's a pleasant feeling, it's a kind of a relaxing feeling. But if your eye sees something that's not quite right, it can cause stress and anxiety. So like, for example, clutter can cause anxiety. And you may not even be aware that it is until the clutter's gone. I think the same thing can happen if it's a jarring move from one room to another room. I think that can kind of cause a little bit of unsettling feeling that maybe you can't even put your finger on.
I agree.
But I think that's something to keep in mind for your house, just to kind of have this pleasant, relaxing feeling throughout your house. There's something about, for example, symmetry too, that just adds calmness to us. So
yeah. Yes, I think that is all right, and that can all work in with your flow. How about this? Having a signature piece, and that really means don't have too many signature pieces, right? Don't have 12 focal points in one room.
I've never heard you can't have too many.
Well, in one room, you really shouldn't have competing focal points.
Not competing focal points, but I am with you here. I try to have at least one wow per room. There may be more than one, but there's usually one that's more standout. And that's something to think about because it adds some excitement to the room. This is the piece that people remember when they come in, and it's fun for guests to really notice that wow piece, that signature piece. They usually talk about it. They enjoy it. They like it. And so this could be some fun piece of artwork, a rug, maybe some pillows. It could be just something in the room that just really draws your eye. The thing about it being a signature piece is we're not talking about something small. This needs to be something that when you go in the room, that's the first thing you notice. That's a signature piece. If it's a very exquisite little dish on a table, that's not a signature piece.
Correct. And a signature piece / focal point could also be something sort of built in, something architectural, maybe a fireplace, something like that. So if you've got a big stone fireplace in the room, don't add something else that's going to compete with it.
Very true.
But just don't wow them with one. Don't wow them with 12.
Well, okay. But 2, 3, maybe. 20.
Well, you could have a wow, and then you could have little wows, like woo and a woo and a wow. How's that?
Okay.
Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. BritBox just keeps getting better. The new Archie is amazing. And it's not the comics. It's about Cary Grant. Archie is the brand new limited series starring Jason Isaacs as Archie Leach, the man who became Cary Grant. From the award-winning screenwriter of Philomena, Archie tells Grant's born in Britain, made in Hollywood story, the dramatic grit to glamour transformation that led him to become one of the most famous people in the world. You are going to absolutely love the acting, but also the styling, the outfits, the scenery. It's the first time his story has been told in collaboration with his daughter Jennifer Grant and ex-wife Diane Cannon. The performances from Jason Isaacs and the rest of the cast are amazing, and it's only available on BritBox. So sign up for BritBox today to stream Archie and other fan favorites from any device. And we have a special limited time offer for our U.S. and Canadian listeners. Get 50% off, yes, that's 50% off your first month when you sign up for a monthly plan. But only if you go to BritBox.com and use our promotion code DTT at checkout. You're going to love Archie. So head over right now and get 50% off your first month of BritBox. Use the promotion code DTT at BritBox.com. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Whatever step we're on, let me check my notes. Where are we? We had 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be 5 or 6. I think 6.
I've got one.
Okay, go for it. Step 6. What is it?
To have a collected look in the room. And what we mean by that is a look where you collected things over time. You don't want to walk in a room and feel like, oh, she just went out today and bought all of this at IKEA. I love IKEA, but you don't want to buy everything in the room at IKEA. Or Home Goods, for that matter. Love Home Goods, but you don't want everything to be from there. You want it to feel like it kind of came together organically over time. And part of the way you do that is to add some vintage or antique things that maybe you did buy just yesterday or today.
But nobody will know.
Right. They don't have that look. So this is kind of, and also you don't want everything to look like it's just matchy. Everything's exactly the same fabric. Everything's exactly the same wood tone. You want it to feel like it came together over time. That's a collected look. And so, get something that's a little bit older to put in there. And this is kind of really how you add these beautiful details. I remember when we had Evie's friends here for the tea party recently, one of the wonderful guests said that when she looked around the room, that everything, she just couldn't take it all in because everything seemed to really warrant some attention. That it wasn't.
No wonder you like these girls.
That's part of it. But the point is,
they were so cute and they loved all my stuff.
They loved my stuff so much. Just love them back. What is it? Love me, love my dog. You love me, love my house. But the point is just, if it's something older, if it's an antique clock, then it's something that you may be looking at for a while to catch all the detail on it. Whereas if it's kind of a new clock made to look old, you kind of look at it, take in all the detail in about 2 seconds, and your eyes moving on to the next thing. So that's what I'm talking about with a collected look. And like, for an example, one of the best ways to add a collected look are vintage books. That goes with just about any style. Just about any room can use some vintage books or antique books just tucked in somewhere. You can use them as a riser, or just about anywhere in the room. You can use an individual book, or you can have several on a bookcase. But that's one example of something that you can add to give a room a collected look.
I'm laughing to myself when you say riser, because as soon as you said about the books, I was picturing myself over the last year plus running around my house, grabbing stacks of books to do those stupid Zoom things. Because, you wanted your camera to be a little higher, so you weren't like looking down into it.
Yes.
And I was so happy to have all these rando stacks of books all over my house. They're very useful.
That's when you pull out those massive old dictionaries and reference books.
I was, swiping all the vignettes off them and grabbing them. I could build them as tall as I wanted. It was great. So another good reason to have those. And you know what? This is something Anita has taught us, and I will now jump in here and grab it and make it my own. Remember to leave space for negative space. Leave space for nothing. It isn't nothing. It's necessary.
That's right, because your eye needs a place to rest. You don't want, because if you don't have a place for your eye to rest, that's part of that stress that I talked about. And that can feel cluttered, even though it's maybe just kind of a visual clutter. It may not be that you have stuff all over the floor, but if there's no blank space on the wall, the eye just feels confused and stressed.
We don't want you to be stressed for any reason. Here's another thing. Don't leave lighting until you're all done and think, oh, now I better go get some lamps, because unless they're battery operated or they're gas or oil lamps, you need to plug them in. So think about it. If you are in the position of doing some renovation, if you've got an electrician in your house for whatever reason, sometimes it's not that hard if the wires, it really depends where they are on the wall and where they can kind of grab them. Sometimes they have to make a little cut in your wall, but you know what? If you're going to paint anyway, that's not that big of a deal. Almost kind of like bite the bullet and just go for it, and have outlets put where you actually need them. If you're not going to be renovating or doing any kind of electrical work, say you're a renter like our gal Evie, or you're in a house that is just not in a position to be renovated right now, look and see where the outlets are. Maybe you can adjust the way you were going to set up the furniture so you can have easy access to these outlets. Because one thing that is really going to be a wet blanket on a well-designed room is an extension cord running across the room or under the carpet or along the edge and around. Now, ashamed to say, but I did have that for a while, because if anybody's familiar with that end of my living room that I have talked about, because it was such a trouble spot, I had purchased a standing lamp to go behind the chaise, which was great, except that it didn't go on because there was no outlet there.
Oh, no.
And so for the time being, I did have one of those long extension cords running behind everything and then plugging in on the other side of the room, at the end of the room. But I had my electrician come, and lo and behold, it didn't even cost that much money because he could come under the house. And he just came under the house and popped in another outlet. I did a little touch-up paint, and now it's perfect. And I have another outlet.
Well, it must be pier and beam, which our house is, but a concrete house with a concrete foundation, that's a little more difficult to add. But it's so nice in the center of the room to have a floor outlet. If you have, your sofa kind of in the middle of the room rather than against a wall. So that is excellent advice to kind of think about that ahead of time if you can. So another thing I think to think about when you're designing a room is, again, about who's going to be in the room. Is it for you or someone else? Think about that person's favorite things, that person's collections, because I think that just really adds that extra icing on the top, the cherry on top, the thing that makes the room personal to the person who's using that, and that is to add something special to that person. So I love antique dishes. So I have dishes displayed pretty much everywhere. I have plate racks in the breakfast room and other places where I have dishes, even just like other people, normal people stack books, I stack dishes all around the house. So that's something that just makes me happy and I enjoy. But I think there's something that everybody has something that they really love. And I think it's important to incorporate that into the design as much as you can.
Well, that is a beautiful ending to our list. Should we run through them quickly again? Just sort of saying the steps?
Well, I don't have all the ones that you added, so...
Well, I'll say some, and then you say some.
I can go through the ones that I said, sure.
Okay, so yeah, we started with number 1, purpose and who's living in that room.
Mm-hmm. The Pinterest board.
Okay, and then measure.
Keep the scale in mind.
Continuity.
Add a wow or signature piece.
How about getting some samples, making a real plan?
Going for a collected look.
Leave room for negative space.
And add some of your favorite things.
And the lighting. Don't forget about the lighting, right? Mm-hmm. I think that was all of them. Somebody will let us know if we forgot one. Or you can just listen to it again a couple times. Yeah. So, Anita, what's our DTT defined today?
Today, it's breakfront. And I thought this was such an interesting term. I think most people know it refers to a china cabinet usually, but I wasn't really sure why it was referred to a breakfront until I did a little research.
Hands up, I did not know it referred to a china cabinet.
Well, I think it refers to a china cabinet or some sort of cabinet or some sort of shelving. It's some sort of large piece of furniture that's tall.
Yeah, large piece of furniture, usually in the dining room. And I don't want to step on your definition at all, but that's what I thought. So educate me.
Right. That's correct. So a break front has 3 sections, a left section, a right section, and a center section. And the center section juts out a little bit. So are you picturing that? Maybe it sticks out maybe 2 inches or so?
Yeah. So when you say that, I'm picturing those very wide china cabinets that I see in all the thrift stores that people are getting rid of.
Yes. Well, not all china cabinets have that center section that juts out. And some of them just have 2 sections or just 1. But this is a very large piece. And sometimes it's a bookcase. But the center section, the main thing is the center. There's 3 sections and the center section juts forward slightly. Thus the name break front, because it breaks that line of the front.
Oh,
see that? That's why it's called a break front.
This is one of those things where I thought I knew what that was, and I clearly did not. I have been using that word for the wrong piece of furniture my entire life.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Well, and I thought I'd just do a twofer since we're talking about breaking.
Okay. Wow, bonus content.
Bonus content. How about a broken pediment? Since we're talking about
ouch,
break front, broken pediment. So the pediment's that kind of archy thing on top of a piece of furniture, usually antique furniture. There's maybe 2 pieces on either side, but they don't touch on the top. So that is called a broken pediment. It's not really broken. It's just that the piece doesn't meet in the center. There's kind of some negative space there in the center. So apparently this theme of breaking or broken occurs more than one place.
And in the dining room where you would have other things that could break. Kind of interesting. I don't know.
For example, on the top of a Chippendale Highboy, you would have a broken pediment. So it would.
I feel like Highboy might be coming down the pike as a definition someday too. Put that on your list, Toots.
Okay, I will.
Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. You know, we're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. All right, great. Well, let's get on to our crushes. I am super excited to share my crush with everybody today. Now, if you follow me on YouTube, you may have seen this product in action. Actually, Peter is helping me with this. Anita, you're going to have to go watch this video. It is the most amazing garden reel hose that I have ever experienced. It's a company from Australia, and they have made this retractable pull out and then retractable garden hose that has really changed my gardening game. I have very little irrigation here. I try to be very drought tolerant with the plants that I choose. We didn't really add a lot of irrigation. I was relying on some soaker hoses. And so let me tell you, everybody, I've been dragging around a very long hose for a very long time, and I don't like to coil it up. But I don't like to trip over it either, or I don't like to run it over with the car. This Hose Link retractable garden reel is amazing. It comes in its own case. It can attach to your house or anything sturdy. You pull it out. It's 82 feet long, or you can get the 50-foot long, but I have the 82. Again, if you guys are familiar with my house, I can go all the way from my side of my house all the way to the sidewalk or all the way back to the barn with the one hose. It's fantastic. Wow. And I don't have to coil it up. And it comes in nice colors. It comes in black, and it also comes in white. And it is terrific.
So is the hose the same diameter as a regular garden hose, or is it smaller?
It's a regular garden hose. It comes with a really nice nozzle, and it comes with this attachment, like feeder tube that you then attach to your spigot, and then you attach it to the casing of the hose, and then that has a really nice set of bolts that come with it, and you just attach it to your house. So we did that, and then I tried it out, and it just kept, so like whoop, 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 it just kept coming out. The only thing I would say is, and it's not anything against the product, it's just so good. The retractor is so strong. You want to keep a hold on it and walk with it rather than like, and the 82 feet is like going crazy. And
does that retractor go with you as you're walking, or does it stay stationary?
The actual casing is attached to the house or to the
so that stays in place.
Fence. Yeah.
So do you kind of jerk on it for it to retract, or you have to keep pressure on it to keep it from retracting?
No, you don't have to keep pressure on it. It's exactly like a vacuum cleaner cord.
Oh, so you give a little pull on it.
Little pull. Just a little, and it goes back in. Nice little tug, and it stays out with you. Yeah.
Well, the iron's got a little thing that you push. So.
I don't iron, and I don't have a snazzy iron like that, even if I do iron. But, it's very much like my experience of vacuum cleaner.
With no ironing and no silver polishing. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
And no mail to sort through. You have this charmed life I don't know about.
And now I have this hose, which really takes it all up just another notch.
Well, I might get the hose. That's a possibility.
And I'll share my discount with you. It's Kelly10 at hoselink.com. I'll put the link in the show notes, and I'll put the link to my video. So in the video, you see a bit about Hoselink, but of course, it's all about fabulous fall finds. And I also connect it to our podcast about that. And I'm touring you around my front porch decorated for early fall that has a lot of these fall finds in it or on it. So come check out the video. I am such a fan of Hose Link. If you have something to water, even if you just wash your car in the driveway, even if you don't even have to guard it.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm going to check it out.
Oh, now that you're mowing and you could be doing this with the hose? I mean, you don't need any help. You're done then. No one needs to come to help you with the outside.
All right. My crush is food related, of course.
You do have a lot of food crushes.
Well,
you do that fasting. You must think about food the entire time you're doing that.
So my crush is Miss Jones Keto and Paleo Fudgy Brownie Mix. And this is gluten-free, no grains, made with almond flour. And I'm going to include a link where you can get a pack of 2 of them. I just bought it yesterday, and I made a batch last night. It doesn't make a big amount, but I got such a thumbs up from the family. I was told this was one of the best batches of brownies I had ever made.
Did you tell them actually that lady, what's her name, she had actually made them?
Miss Jones? No, well, okay. Now I did have a little secret. Now it calls for milk, and I used coffee instead. And then the brownies, there's no icing on them, but I always put icing on the brownies because my family's so disappointed if there's no icing. So I made a little mocha icing to put on it too.
Wow. I'm impressed. That sounds great.
So the only reason I mention is not because I bought them, but because they got such rave reviews here at the house.
Yeah. Good. Now, where did you get them?
I got them at Costco, but you can get them other places too.
Oh, good, because I don't go to Costco. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to include a link where you can get them online.
Super duper.
Yes, this was so fun. So remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.